Some corporations, the environment there is very, very sick. In this video, I'm going to talk about sick corporations. Look at how good you think you are, how great you are, what you believe you can bring to the table. You're just a number. Hello, welcome to Easy Career Growth, where we try to break down big tasks into something that's very, very manageable that everybody can pick up on, everybody can embrace, and everybody can move forward with their careers. Today's video, we're going to talk about the corporate life. Some corporation environments are sick. They're sick, and I'm going to give you some key things here to tell you why they're sick. In this video, we're going to talk about sick corporations. Some corporations, the environment there is very, very sick. You think right off the bat that they're a perfect place to work. In this video, we're going to open your eyes up to some things that you need to know about when you plan on jumping into the corporate world, still staying in the smaller mom and pop business or starting your own. So stay tuned. I'm going to jump right into it. All right, you know how it goes when your family tells you need to go to college, you need to do X, Y, and Z. You go to college, you go to grad school, you get out, and all of a sudden you get the best jobs of these big corporation jobs because they have big resources, big training budgets. They have corporate trips. They have tons and tons of upsides to work in a corporate environment versus mom and pop. There's some negative things associated with it also. Some of the environments in some corporations are sick. It's a sick environment there. So I'm not going to drop names, but I could, but I won't because there's no value in that. But I want to tell you some key things that you should think about or that you should know when you go into corporate life. All right, let's jump right into it. The first secret about corporate life is the office politics. The office politics can be monumental. They can be deafening at times, right? There's this person talking about that person. There's these guys over here that only talk to each other. They only go to lunch with each other. These guys go to golf on Friday. Everybody's trying to get to the top. And how do they get to the top? They have circles within circles within circles, right? So this team and that team and this team and that team and this team doesn't talk to that team. And you get in there, you try and just figure out who you are, right? But the office politics can be something that you need to watch. If you get caught up into it, it can be a disaster for you, right? And look, you can't just stay away from it. You just can't say, I'm going to know it all. You can't, because some of the things that's happening you know about, some of the other things you don't want to know about it. But you're going to have to manage that situation to a point where, you hear stuff and you let it go off your back. Oh, you hear stuff and you go, oh shoot, I need to move my butt because this is really bad over here. I need to see how I can get out of this department and get to another department because this department here is really, really bad. So that's the first thing, office politics. Unbelievable sometimes in the corporate environment. Second thing you need to know, corporate life, you're just a number, right? You're just a number. I don't care how good you think you are, how great you are, what you believe you can bring to the table, you're still a number. And if the big wigs at the very top side need to lay off 1,000 people, they're going to go to each one of the department heads and say, you give me 10, you give me 10, you give me 15. And those managers are going to have to figure out how to maintain their departments, how to still make the numbers, how to keep productivity up, how to keep morale up, how to keep everybody engaged, aligned, and do it with less people, right? And, some guys on the team aren't going to make it, right? And these normally happen to people that have been doing a fantastic job. They hit their numbers, they're great, but you might have 5 other guys who've also hit their targets, done really, really good. But you got to get rid of 2 people, or 3 people, 10 people, whatever the case may be. Guess what happens? Bang, you're out. It's not personal, right? It's not personal at all. It's business. So when you get into the corporate world, it's just plain business. Some of the mom and pop businesses during COVID, they basically spent their whole savings on keeping employees whole, And some corporations did the same thing, but a lot of them, they closed the door, right? They did it for a couple weeks, couple months, whatever the case may be, and they go bang, and they're out. And some of these corporations were sitting on tons and tons of cash, did not give it to employees. They just didn't, just laid them off, right? So, yeah, corporate life is fantastic, but you have to believe and understand, at the end of the day, you're a number. You might be way up there, yeah, but you're still a number. And if they need to reduce that number, bang, somebody's gonna get let go. Next thing, burnout culture. A lot of people, they work so hard, so many hours, weekends, nights, holidays, long hours. They do it all. They do anything and everything they can do to get to the next level up. Some of them make it, some of them get burnt out. Some of them are so stressed out, some of them haven't seen their friends, they haven't seen their family, they have no work-life balance, and it gets to a certain point and they quit, they get fired because they get to a point where they're just not productive anymore. Burnout is a big thing in corporate life. I've seen it, I've been around it, this is why you have to exercise, this is why you have to meditate, this is why you have to do all these other things outside of work to get you ready for work. I tell you, it's so important, because these companies, these corporations sometimes will run you into the ground and they will pay you well while you're doing it, right? You'll get paid, but end of the day is your mental health. What value is that? What value do you place on your family's mental health? You take an assessment, you go back, is that paycheck worth all of that? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. That's your call to make. But I can tell you, a lot of people get burnt out, they get spit out after that, and then they bring in the next group of fresh graduates and they throw them back into the lion's den. And this thing keeps going. And there's a few that migrate over to the top and they go, yep, it's a great place, but half of them been through divorce 4 or 5 times, and I'll leave it at that. But burnout's a big thing. Next one, leadership. Some of the leadership can be really bad. I mean, when I say bad, I mean not from a making your number point of view, because they all make their numbers, they all perform, right? But man, I tell you, some of their behaviors and some of the leaders, they're horrible managers. They scream, yell, curse, throw things sometimes, ask you to be on call all times of the night, or call you at 11 o'clock at night. You can't leave the office until they leave the office. When they come in the office, everybody's on pins and needles. Some of these guys and gals are unbelievable in how they treat people. And that goes back to the burnout and some of the other expectations that you just can't adhere to. I've seen people get on conference calls and they're screaming and yelling at people, treating them like they're kids. Like you would even talk to your kids like that on the phone. You're talking about professional people getting yelled at, screamed at on the call, right? Some of these things it's just that behavior sometimes is unbelievable. In some corporations, they put a blind eye to it. I'm not saying they support it, but they know what's happening and they do nothing about it. HR knows it's happening, they do nothing about it. Why? Because that person's making the numbers, right? So if that person's got to drive everybody into the dirt to make that number, you make the number and everybody gets their bonuses, so be it. So be it. I'm just telling you, some of the leaders in corporate management can be really sad at that. Next one, profit is more important than people. Making that quarterly number is more important. I'm telling you, it's more important. They used to say you miss your quarter. If you're in sales, you miss your quarter 2 quarters in a row. The third quarter, you don't have a job. If you're in sales, that's the case. But I'm talking about high level stuff. I'm talking about top tier stuff. If you don't make the number, you're out of a job, right? If the company doesn't make their quarter, division doesn't make their quarter, the next quarter, it's just business. They're looking at how we can reduce the cost in that division to stop the bleeding because they're not making the numbers, right? Doesn't mean they're not profitable, right? That's what I'm getting at here. Does not mean that division is not making money. They're just not making enough money. They didn't hit their number. They may be, making $2 million that quarter, but the target was $2.5 million, $3 million. You didn't make your number, bottom line. So if you don't make the number, and the next year the number's gonna be a little higher, and a little higher, and a little higher. Never go down. And if it does go down, trust me, half of the resources to support that $2.5 million number is going to be gone. So you need to understand that when you work in a corporate environment, profits are more important than people. Next one, your career satisfaction and your career growth may not be the same. It's normally something that's misaligned, right? So your growth, you need to do certain things to grow. That means you have to get outside of your comfort zone sometimes, take on challenges. Other people, they like where they are. They've mastered this craft and this job, and they do it fantastic. They're experts at it, right? So in their situation, they're very satisfied in that position. So they don't need anything else. But if they still want to grow a little bit, they have to get outside of that box. You can't do that job for the next 20 years and expect to grow. So if you're satisfied doing that job, you want to grow, you got to move. So they're on a line, right? They're not aligned. If you want to grow, then you may not be satisfied in that job long enough, because once you get there and get settled in, you need to take on the next position up, right? You might work that 2 or 3, 4 years, you need to take the next one up, right? If you want to continue to grow, you may not get that satisfaction. Then you might see it in a paycheck, you might see it in, accolades or something like that. But I'm talking about I'm talking about the heart. I'm talking about the feeling. You know, what did you accomplish? And someone would, you know, if you're honest with yourself, people will say, you know, that job I had 2 jobs back, you know, when I ran such and such division, it was a fantastic job, the best job I ever had. I should have stayed there because it was a great job. I felt good about it. You know, the people were good, but I took the next job up and it was just horrible. At some point in time, you have to go, what's more important to you? Growth, satisfaction. Satisfaction, growth. They don't necessarily align to each other. And most people don't think about that in corporate life. They just think, hey, I'm going to a fantastic job, I'm going to grow and make it to the next level, and it's going to be, oh, just cherries and ice cream the whole way up. It's not. Corporate life's a whole lot different. So think about that one. Last but not least, right, work-life balance, right? You need to do to try to master both of them. You know, you're going to need to be able to be a good parent, good friends, good stewards in your church, whatever organization that you're involved in. But you can't necessarily work 16, 17 hours a day or work 60 hours a week and expect to be a strong contributor to other activities that are outside of your work, right? So you got to figure out how that's going to work for you. And a lot of corporate jobs, they don't care. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. It is getting better with people being able to work at home or work remotely over the last few years. Obviously, you know, COVID kind of kicked that off, and a lot of people don't want to go back to the office full time because they see that flexibility and how that impacts their life and their family. And that work-life balance has got a whole lot better. But a lot of corporations out there right now are demanding that everybody return to the office at least, you know, 3 to 4 days a week or 2 to 3 days a week. So if you could maintain some type of balance, it does a great thing. It energizes when you do have to go to work, and it gives you some flexibility to spend some time with friends and family and you know, do some of the other things that you need to do outside of going straight to the office every day. So look, those are some key things that I thought of, you know, off the top of my head that you should know about by going into the corporate arena. Those are some negative sides, and you might say they aren't negative. There's a bunch of positive attributes about working in corporate life also. You know, I did it for 20 years, so it didn't destroy me, but looking back at it, or as I went through it, there's some key things in there that, okay, you do what you got to do, but hey, if there's a way around, if there's a smarter way, then you need to think about it. So some corporations are better than others. All aren't the same, and they shouldn't be treated the same. So you find a good corporate job and they treat you well, and you know, the key is you have a good manager. The key is you have a good CEO that's a people person, that's a balance between profits and, you know, and people. Yeah, and a lot of corporations out there, they talk the good game about people strongest attribute and people this and people that. At the end of the day, they don't. You know, it's just a buzzword. Bang, they hang up the phone, the team call, and it's onward. But people that really feel it, really believe, those are good places to work, and you know, they're out there. So I would challenge each one of you to find the good ones. So if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I enjoy doing this, it's a lot of fun. Please leave me some comments. Tell me about some jobs out there that suck. Tell me some jobs out there that are great and how you had great experiences, and share some of the bad ones. Hey, and look, if you have some good corporations you want to put their name in the chat box, put them up there so everybody knows who they are. Bad ones, hey, lay that out. You know, it's good for the goose, good for the gander. Okay, thanks a lot. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.